Well, hello and welcome back. And to the newcomers, what's up? We talk about music around here. And as you can tell, today's video is about a few records. I'm going to start it off with Beyonce, because I have a lot to say about this record. So I'm late. I found out about this record mid last year, mid 2023. And when I did, I felt like I was late to the party because I heard about this record. I heard about the waves it was making and whatnot, but I have not heard a single song off the record. So I was pleasantly surprised when one day I just decided to check it out. By the way, this is Beyonce, Renaissance. This is her take at like a full, I guess, like dance record, super pop record. And I think she did an amazing job. It does not disappoint. I was kind of disappointed but relieved. I was disappointed in the fact that it took me so long to actually listen to this record. But I was relieved that when I did, some of these songs are massive and they have like hundreds of millions of plays, and I have not heard any of them. So I was fortunate for that. It felt like a new experience, a true experience. And a few things I want to say about this. Well, first off, I just ruined my jacket. I don't know if you can see these little streak of this streak of white. That just happened. Charge it to the game, man. It's annoying. It happened with one of these flaps. I was taking off one of the flaps for another record, and it got stuck to it and just ripped it off in a clean swipe. Anyway, this record has some of my favorite. Let me just say, I love when artists and songs in general have transitional aspects to them. And this album, I feel like, did not disappoint. I think every single track flows into the next one. And then if not, the next track caters to the tempo that the last track had. So regardless, I feel like this whole thing is like a seamless journey. Although I do have favorites. Let's talk about the standouts. I'm That Girl's a great intro, but my favorites have to be Cuff It, Break My Soul, ooh, All Up in Your Mind, and my favorite would probably be Heated. Heated is probably one of my most played, I would say. That last verse, if you know, you know. That last verse is mad fun. It's such a good vibe. And I haven't come across anybody that dislikes that part of that song. But yeah, the transitions, man. Like, one of my favorite is probably Energy into Break My Soul, as well as Move into Heated. Just fire overall. I'm definitely going to capture some B-roll because this is not just a regular jacket, if you can tell. It comes with like a whole bunch of stuff, a booklet and everything. Which I thought was dope because it was $50 and I paid more for records that just came with just a record. But overall, this is a fantastic album. I would highly recommend anybody that hasn't listened to Beyonce, check it out. It's different from some of her other stuff, but regardless, I feel like this album is critically acclaimed and for good reason. I can't stress that enough. But also, if you like pop music, check it out. I definitely think that she dived into that lane in the right way, especially with some tracks like Break My Soul. But yeah, check that out. Do not sleep on it. And which is perfect timing, ironically, because in the making of this video, Beyonce dropped her second. This is part of a trilogy apparently, and she dropped the second part of the trilogy today, actually. I'm not even really sure of the name. It just dropped. I didn't even know it was dropping, but I think that's pretty fitting. So overall, I mean, definitely one of my favorite tracks of last year, even though it came out in 2022. Definitely one of my favorite tracks. Albums overall. And yeah, I feel like I should do a whole video on this album alone just because I feel like it's worthy of it. But we're gonna cut it there. I'm gonna capture some B-roll because I feel like some of the photos and stuff is kind of dope in there. And next up, and mind you, with this video we're gonna be going all over the place. So like a lot of these records don't have anything to do with each other. Excuse me. Next up is Sigur Ros. This is a band that I've talked about many times. This is I forgot what number album this is by them. This is called Atta, I believe, Atta. And this is the cover. Got like a little glossy feel to it. I'm a big fan of this cover. This is actually a photo from the 70s, I believe. No, the 80s, I believe. And this is the insert. Sigur Ros is, they are a band from Iceland, an Icelandic post-rock band. I've talked about them numerous times before. I definitely feel like they are up there in my favorite artist, but I have to say that their music is very obscure, coming from someone that's speaking English and living in New York. It's definitely a different vibe, definitely something that some people would have to like warm up to, or at least, like try some of their earlier stuff, see if it's more in their lane before they get into some of their more avant-garde type stuff. This is not one of those. I think this is a pretty easy listen. There's a track on here that's pretty wild. I think it's called Lure, either Lure or Gold. See if I can get that in there. It is on the third, but probably not. It's pretty small font, but it's on the third record out of the 4. And the standouts for me on this album would definitely be Glow, the first track. Bluebird, the second track, is my favorite. Andra is probably a close second, which is track number 6. And also, one of my favorites is actually 8, which is the last track. Pretty weird one. Overall, I mean, all the music is pretty weird, but that is a pretty weird track in and of itself. But I have a thing for tracks that are a bit longer. For whatever reason, I feel like it feels like a bit more of a journey, especially if it's done right, if it ascends in the right spots, and then if it descends in certain spots that I feel like are befitting of it. And I definitely feel like this is one of those tracks. So yeah, this is Sigur Ros, Atta. I believe that's how you say it. ATTA. Check them out. They have tons of music. They've been making music since, I forget when exactly, since like the 90s. So they have a bunch of different sounds, but although this is not my favorite project by them, this is their most recent album in many years. So definitely have to get that. I would definitely be doing some B-roll with this, because this record has so much colors attributed to it. And I actually got the red vinyl. You had options of like green, clear, yellow. I was thinking about getting the yellow. I was really dead set on yellow until last second. I got offered red, which I was told was exclusive, but who knows? I like the contrast between the white cover and the red. I feel like the yellow probably would have been a bit better. Who knows? But overall, great album. Check that out. Now before I get to the last two, actually, the last two are a bit random, so I'm saving them for the end. This next one is Slowdive, Everything Is Alive. Came out last year, I believe. Was it last year or was it early this year? It might have even been early this year. This is still fairly new to me. This is a short album. This is only like 8 songs. But the standouts for me would have to be Shanty, which is track number 1. A Life, track number 3. Skin in the Game. I feel like I'm gonna name them all, really. Chained to a Cloud is definitely something you could put on if you're just like drifting off and enjoying that vibe. The Slab is probably the most loud song on here, the most chaotic, although it's not that chaotic, just in contrast wise. But that's probably one of my favorites, low key. It has a driving bass that goes through the whole thing, which maybe can sound repetitive. It probably would be something that I wouldn't like if I just read that on paper. But sound wise, I feel like they knock it out the park. I feel like they did pretty good with it. I love this cover, this like geometric patterns almost, with like that figure in the middle. It looks like a nun or something. Overall, fire. I did see that they had another version of this record, almost like a gold version. I was trying to find that. I saw like one photo of it, but I couldn't find the actual record anywhere, so I'm not sure if that's me just looking at something that was made or if I just missed out on that. But overall, yeah, Everything Is Alive by Slowdive. Great record. This is a great little EP. Like, this is one of those records that when I think of this record, I think of a lot of indie rock records in the past that I've come across, mainly because it's super short, it's super sweet, it came out of nowhere, and it definitely has just like that indie sound, if you know what I mean. And I can't stress enough how like I definitely prefer records or EPs that have less tracks versus more. Like if it's really good, then obviously you're gonna want more. But I think there's less room for error. And sometimes when people have records where they do like, I don't know, 18, 22 tracks or whatever, there's so much padding in there. So the odds that you're gonna come across something that you don't like, or something that is just kind of meh to you, is much higher. But overall, I mean, I don't feel that way with this. When I first came across this, I had this on repeat. Haven't been playing it too much, but it definitely was deserving of a buy, and it was super cheap. So yeah, Slowdive. So for these next two, these are a bit different. Mainly because I stopped, for the most part, crate digging. When I first got into records, I would just go out and buy some records, see what I find. If I saw a album cover that I thought was kind of dope or something that caught my eye, I would definitely go buy it. It was part of the allure of crate digging. But over the years, I stopped because, this is a very expensive hobby, and I try to become more selective. Especially when you have records that are piling up that you don't listen to, you definitely think about it much more. So I stopped really just buying random things. But the other day, when I was buying SZA's record a while back, actually, in one of my past videos, I came across two of these records in the same day, and they both were on sale. They both were cheap, which is the main thing that caught me. But I actually ended up liking both of the albums. They're very different, and one of them is kind of like cheesy in a way, but I fuck with it. And the first one I'll talk about is With Confidence. I believe the band's name is also called With Confidence. And this, I didn't know what this was gonna sound like, to be honest. I thought it was gonna be like some indie pop kind of thing, and it kind of is. The main vocalist has a voice that is, like I said, kind of cheesy, kind of nasally, but for some reason, even on first listen, I kind of liked it. But yeah, it also came on, and once again, I'll capture the B-roll. It comes on like a weird splatter, which I thought was fire. Like, why is it that these random records that's on sale for like 10, 15 bucks, maybe even cheaper sometimes, like $9, have the most impressive like records in terms of like design and whatnot, and sometimes the inserts too. I would never understand how like full-blown big artists that drop a new record or drop anything will charge like $50 for it, and it's just the jacket, the record, and that's it. There's no inserts, there's no tags, no nothing, no posters, which as someone that collects, I definitely appreciate that stuff all the time. But yeah, this is With Confidence. I believe the album, the album's also called With Confidence. Definitely in that like pop rock lane or pop vibe. I didn't listen to the whole thing, mind you. I heard the first few tracks and I was like, okay, I can definitely see the lane that they're in. And I can appreciate that because I don't really listen to too much of that anymore. And especially I don't have any records that sound like that. So the fact that it was cheap and random, it's a win-win. It's another weird one. This is called Painted Shields 2. Painted Shields, if I'm not mistaken, the co-founder of Pearl Jam, that old rock band, made his own band, and they're called Painted Shields. I did hear of their first record called Painted Shields, but I guess I just skipped over the years. So this is their second one. This is a weird one for me. First off, it's a weird sound, but also the jacket. The jacket is weird to me. I hate when jackets do this. So this is the actual image, but it opens up like this way, which I'm not really sure why they would do that. It just seems confusing. But and also like this has to be like one of the worst covers I've seen in a long time. This like paper cutout, super rough edges. What is this even supposed to be? I have no idea. But with that being said, I like the music more than I like the cover. The music is definitely, it's kind of hard to pin this one. This is a bit of a genre blender. It's in the rock lane. I would say it's in like a indie rock, rhythm rock kind of lane. There's some aspects in there. There's like a song or two in there that has more of like a rhythm and blues country vibe, and then some other ones that have a bit more of a pop vibe. But overall, I say like a rhythm rock, indie rock vibe. Painted Shields 2. This is also called Painted Shield 2, self-titled. Pretty dope. Like the other one, doesn't have a super long track list. So, if you don't like it, then you're not gonna waste too much of your time. But I do think it's worth checking out, hence why it's in the video. But overall, yeah, that's my quick little pick. I do have like 2 more in the mail that are coming in by some TDE artists. I don't want to spoil, because if you know TDE, they are pretty bad with their shipping. So I've been waiting on a record for them for like well over a year. I waited on Isaiah Rashad's The House is Burning for like 2 years and like 2 months or something like that, some outlandish number. I'm also waiting on a record by Issa Gold, if anybody knows him from Beast Coast. Highly underrated. I love him as a lyricist. He makes great music. But yeah, for me, that is gonna be it right now. Whenever those come in, I'll definitely do like a little TDE video, kind of how like I did my Flatbush Zombies video. It'll be just focused on some of those artists strictly. I can't wait for that one, to be honest. But until then, man, I appreciate y'all stopping by. For the newcomers, y'all know the vibe. We talk music here. So drop by again. We'll do it again. Be easy.